guys, today's video is going to be talking about do negative thoughts manifest? And this is a requested video. This is something that I received an answer for on a poll I did on my LOA coaching Instagram page. So that's where I don't often interact with you guys there. I feel like YouTube is where I talk to you guys the most, and my viewers and followers. But every now and again I'll do a poll or, connect with you guys and see what you want to see on my channel, what video requests you have, and I received quite a few. So today is going to be what somebody asked for, which is, do your negative thoughts manifest? Kind of worrying about that, how to deal with that. So I'm going to answer A, do they manifest, and B, how to deal with them, how to go about handling them. It's not so much, about a mental diet, which is the key element to handling negative thoughts, but it's more so how to handle it in the context of not letting them reach a point of that manifesting. So if you like this topic, if you'd like me to take more of your requests, do more video ideas that I've discussed with you guys in the comments, then please do thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. I would really appreciate it. And I also offer one-on-one coaching, and all the information of what I offer, prices and everything like that is on the LOA coaching page on Instagram, which is linked below in the description box. So please take a look there, and please reach out to me only on that page if you're interested, or by email, and let's get started. The first point I want to say is that negative thoughts, of course, they can manifest. And one of the examples is if it's already linked to a pre-existing assumption. It can be something as simple as being ghosted by your SP, or them not responding to one of your text messages because you've already had, the previous negative old story assumption that they don't contact you, they don't initiate, they don't put the effort to communicate with you, something along those lines. I think that's relatively common, especially with, women and men. A male SP, a lot of women think, oh, they're such bad texters, right? Like that's this stereotypical kind of social conditioning joke that has kind of become ingrained in us that, oh, like if you like a guy, he's probably not going to text you back, that sort of thing. And that's the kind of narrative you want to get rid of. But it's one example where you have a pre-existing belief and assumption, and it's been reflected back into, negative thoughts, the way you think. So that's one way it could manifest, because you already have a pre-existing belief or assumption that's been repeated and repetitively fed into your subconscious mind. So yes, it could manifest. I'm not talking like creating an apocalypse, like that's very dramatic and drastic. We don't have beliefs about that. Most people probably think it's very unrealistic, especially in a short period of time. So nothing crazy and life-changing is going to manifest in a second, but it's more so things you have less resistance to, anything where there's already an existing foundation built. So obviously we're talking in the context of negative assumptions. So yes, a negative thought can manifest if it's already linked to something you believe. And linking on to that, I should stop using the word link, and in connection to that, if you already have something that doesn't have any resistance in your mind, and you don't have opposing thoughts to it, then as well it can totally manifest. So you could just think one negative thought, one negative visual, and if you don't have any kind of resistance to it, it's something very small and simple, like being stuck in traffic, your post being delayed, the postman is delayed with your delivery, something like that, like a day-to-day regular occurrence. If you don't have any opposing thoughts to it, you don't already have positive assumptions linked to it, then yes, it can absolutely instantly manifest, or just manifest in general. That is not to panic, you guys. You go through your daily life, you know that most thoughts don't just manifest, it takes repetition, especially with negative or positive things. If your relationship with your SP has gone downhill and you're trying to manifest them back into a good place, guess what? It didn't happen overnight, did it? Even though you might have manifested bad things, it's never an overnight thing. It's, experience after experience after experience, and thousands of thoughts compiled together to create that. Same with positive experiences. Anyone who's manifested their SP or manifested a desire, you know that it does take a little bit of time and repetition. So usually this same thing occurs with negative thoughts. Even if it is something that's linked to maybe an existing SP belief, an existing belief about your appearance, your position at work, anything like that, it does usually take repetition. So don't think, you know, imagine the state of the world if it only took one negative thought to screw things up. Like, everyone would be living in absolute chaos. So use your, you know, common sense here and don't spiral and panic and think, oh my God, I thought something negative about SP this morning. I thought, you know, I had this like horrible intrusive thought. They don't manifest for the most part. It's only through repetition. Like I said, unless it's already linked to an existing belief you have of something that you've been continuously experiencing in a negative aspect, it's most probably not going to manifest quickly. It will take you thinking it over and over and over for it to manifest. And that's if you don't have any resistance. You need to really focus on that negativity a lot for it to manifest. That's usually how this occurs. Yeah, it takes repetition even for the negative things to manifest. So if you have a few negative thoughts throughout your day, it's probably not going to reflect in your 3D, you know, for a while, if at all. Unless, like I said, it's something very small and insignificant, like being in a traffic jam in the morning, you know, waiting in a long queue to get your coffee, something small and insignificant that's just a regular part of your day. Or like I wrote down here that if it's something with very little resistance in your mind, like I said, you know, getting in a traffic jam, we all assume it's possible. We all think it can happen to us, and it has happened. I live in London, so for me, it's nothing. If there are no traffic jams, I'm like, what the hell is going on? But if it's something very, very small, then yes, it can very easily manifest. So yeah, please just take this advice with a pinch of salt and like, yeah, just use your common sense and know that you're not going to manifest all the negative stuff. Most of it will never, ever, ever manifest. I'm just giving examples of how and why it could. Now, linking into a mental diet somewhat, if you leave those negative thoughts unchecked, for example, the most common example is with relationships and an SP. So, and that's where people spiral the most when it involves another person. So let's say you have a thought, you check your phone and SP didn't respond to your last message in your conversation. You were texting, it was going good, and they haven't responded. It's the next morning. If you think, oh my gosh, he hasn't replied, and then you check back a few hours later, why hasn't he replied? And you start spiraling and creating scenarios, and you end up thinking, well, he's on his way to his wedding with a third party, and you know, you've let yourself get to that point, and you keep thinking it, and you keep reminding yourself of it, and panicking and wondering, why is this happening? Why is that happening? Then yes, it could manifest. It could lead to, you know, your assumption that SP doesn't contact me, SP won't respond to my messages, SP never prioritizes texting me, they don't communicate with me, anything along those lines, to do with lack of communication. That's probably one of the most common ones, especially with an SP, that, you know, they won't text you back, they don't initiate contact, you're not in contact at all, that sort of thing. So if you leave the negative thought unchecked, and you continuously think it, it's a repetitive cycle, then it's most probably going to manifest in your reality and become a belief and a block to your relationship. And I've also written down here that if you let it spiral into a legitimate worry and concern, then it's already reached a point where it's saturating your mind, you're spending too much time and energy thinking about it, so in one way or another it might manifest. And you can easily reverse this with a mental diet. Usually nothing crazy, not like, you know, I don't want to even list examples because I don't want to say it for myself, but, you know, nothing, it's probably, if you're having a really crazy negative thought of something unrealistic and like completely out there, I'm like pretty certain it will never manifest, because I've had those thoughts. We all have those thoughts. They don't just instantly manifest because you didn't do a mental diet. Like, you just forget the thought and move on. And you should have other pre-existing positive beliefs that kind of help counteract it. But if you spiral about one specific incident and event that's occurred in your actual life, something negative, and you let it spiral to the point where it becomes a worry or concern, and you have trouble letting it go, then yes, it's probably going to continue to manifest and become this cycle. So you want to be careful that you don't let that one thought become another and another and another and build up into this assumption and worry and whole negative statement. One positive point I do want to mention again to keep you guys inspired and calm, I don't want to freak you out. If you have good self-concept affirmations or a good self-concept in general about your life, about your power as a manifestor, you feel confident and secure, that anything along those lines, and you're also using good blanket affirmations, or, you know, at some point in your manifesting journey, you were using these type of affirmations, and I'll list a few examples in a second, then they are most probably the block and counteract the blockage to those negative thoughts. So it's kind of going to bounce off. Like if and to analogize this, like if you're playing ping pong, but like as one player, and you're bouncing the ball off the wall, right? That wall is your self-concept and your affirmations. It's blocking the ball from getting through, which is the negative thought. If that makes sense. So basically, yeah, it's like a protective blanket. So no pun intended. Some blanket affirmations, things like, isn't it wonderful? My life is perfect. I get anything I want. Only good things happen to me. Everything in my life is perfect. Anything like that. Those sorts of things will usually prevent those negative thoughts from occurring. So if you think, oh my gosh, I saw some XYZ happen on the news. What if it happened to me? Like that woman or man is similar to me. I live in the same area. Thoughts like that usually will never ever manifest. You really do have to have some kind of connecting beliefs or assumptions. It's not just going to manifest out of thin air because you said it once or even just thought it to yourself once. We have 70,000 thoughts a day. It's usually going to be that, you know, your self-concept protects you because you said my life is perfect, or, you know, I say something like, me and my family are always rich, happy and healthy. So all of that combines just having a very happy, secure life. So I just already have this assumption that nothing of that, of like a really big scale in a negative way is ever going to happen to me and my family. Like the things I see on the news, I'm like, that's never going to happen to us. Like I feel safe walking down the street. I just have these assumptions created now. Like I always think in one way or another we'll always be okay. And that is kind of built up over time. So if you do any kind of self-concept affirmations about the quality of your life, about you, the way you live your life, anything like that, it's probably going to protect you from certain negative thoughts manifesting. Now, when it comes to a relationship with your SP, for example, this is where those are kind of separate beliefs. So if you think something along the lines of SP not texting you, SP choosing another woman over you, another man over you, then those things can manifest because that's nothing to do with your life being perfect. If you affirm my life is perfect, but then you have the assumption that's part of the old story that, oh, you know, SP has never chosen me or committed to me, then guess what? That prevails over your self-concept. So generally speaking, negative, bad experiences that could happen in your life won't manifest just off of that one thought, and your self-concept will protect you. The blanket affirmations that you've ever used should be a good protection as well, and that's why things don't manifest instantly for the most part. But when it comes to a relationship or a manifestation that you're with a specific goal, then you need to work on the specific assumptions about that goal or about that person. Generally speaking, like I said, the self-concept will help a lot, but you just want to be conscious of the thoughts not repeating over and over. Also, your SP affirmations, similar to self-concept, will protect you. So if you're worried about having a negative thought about SP and you have it maybe once a day, you know, constantly, not constantly, but like every day consistently, you think it maybe once a day, guess what? If you spend an hour affirming, looping over and over throughout your day, for a total of 1 hour, you've been saying, SP is madly in love with me. SP is madly in love with me. That's going to protect you. It's not that you had one negative thought and suddenly all the work is undone. It's making sure that you don't let it spiral into an assumption or repetitive, constant thought. The one-off thought here and there, those don't manifest. I gave you examples of how and why they might, but generally speaking, they won't. If you are consistently affirming for your SP, or your self-concept or blanket affirmations, whatever the context is, those will protect those negative thoughts from manifesting. So you just want to make sure it doesn't spiral into a repetitive negative thought. Other than that, please don't worry. I hope this was inspirational and useful and clarifying. Yeah, I think I rambled on a little bit, but I think I got to tell you guys everything I had written down and wanted to share with you. Please do thumbs up, subscribe, turn on the notification bell if you enjoyed this video. If you'd like me to talk about this topic more, let me know in the comments, your video suggestions, let me know your feedback, and I'll see you next time.